crunch Cobra is a great exercise to stabilize and strengthen the spine. It's a segmental exercise, so you're working each segment in the spine. So I like to work the Cobra, the back, and then the front in the crunch, or lateral, so doing lateral crunches. And there's lots of different variations, and as a coach, you need to be able to give people the right level, and then to train yourself to be your own coach, you need to be able to do that as well. So on the floor is the best place to start because you can't go into flexion, you're only going up from the floor. So here you're going to use the breath, breathing in for the basic version that just keeps the hands by the side, and then breathing out, coming down, totally relaxing. So that way if I'm doing 6 reps in a minute, then I'm getting a pretty easy loading parameter, so not putting too much strain on the body. When you're starting out, you don't want to arch up too high, especially if you're already overextending in the lower back. You want to really try and extend in the thoracic region. The next version, you can come up into a W. So I like to cross the hands over so you can rest the forehead. For some people, they need to rest in between reps. As you get stronger, you can stay up, come down. You can go from the I, W, T, Y, and then you can go straight overhead. And that's going to be a lot heavier. It takes a lot more flexibility in the shoulder, a lot more strength to control it. You can integrate the legs as well. So if I'm coming up in the easy version here, and that basic Cobra, I can lift the legs, squeeze the glutes, exhale, come down, and that gets a lot more of the posterior chain. When you're developing the Cobra, you want to think of peeling your spine off the floor. So you can look up with the eyes and get more extension. Just got to be careful not to overextend just in the lower back and the neck as well. You want to try and get a nice even extension through the whole chain. But I like to use the eyes to facilitate the movement. Plus for my spine, I need more cervical curve and more lumbar curve, so it's okay. But it just depends on the individual and what their needs are, what your needs are. For the flip side of that, we're working just a basic crunch and peeling the spine off the floor. So here, eyes down, chin in, tongue on the roof of the mouth, jaw closed. Exhale as you come up, inhale, come back. I like to stretch the arms up overhead, so you're getting that stretch. You can make it harder with the legs out. You can have the fingertips behind the head to support the neck. If the hands stay above the head, it's obviously going to be a lot harder, or in that Y position. It's going to make it a lot heavier. Coming back to the face down, you can progress with a alternating position, so you're getting some rotational work with it. So here, I can do an alternating version where I'm lifting the opposite arm and opposite leg. Now if that's too hard, you can actually assist with the bottom hand to help with the extension. You can make it harder by staying off the whole time, but you're coming higher, still using that breath, and then you can go with double arm just like the last one. That's going to be harder, or you can keep it out like that. That's going to make it harder again. There's always a way to make it harder. On the back, you can get that mirrored with the cross crunch. You can come over to that opposite knee. You can even integrate the lower abs with it. I like on every rep to stretch out if I am on the floor, and even on the harder versions with the ball. So a Swiss ball is a great investment. You don't necessarily need a full robust one like this. These are quite expensive. This takes 700 kilos dynamic and 2,750 kilos static loading. You can just get a cheap one if it's just for core exercises. This is more for loaded lifting, so if you're using weights on it. So with the Cobra basic version, you can stay down this side a bit more to make it easier. Peel that spine off, breathing in and then breathing out. To make it harder, you come over the ball more, And then the same progressional path with the arms through the T, Y, and that overhead position makes it a lot harder. And then you can go into the alternating versions, so you're getting one side, keeping, and then you can go into a balance. So it's going to require a lot more stability and control. Keeps it more interesting too, but you want to feel the glutes more when you're doing the whole body lifts. The benefit of doing it on the ball is not just that it's unstable and you get to go into flexion. The other real added benefit is the pressure on the diaphragm. So it's that pressure on the internal contents of your stomach. So when you're breathing in, you're using the diaphragm to push the visceral contents into the ball because the ball's pushing into it. And then when you breathe out, and let everything come out. And that's going to help strengthen the diaphragm more with the breathing. On the flip side of that, you've got added extension because you're not on the floor, so you get to go right back. And breathe out. Really important to keep that chin in as you're going down, tongue on the roof of the mouth, jaw closed. Breathing in. And peeling the spine off. So I'm talking now because I'm explaining the exercise, but ideally you keep the mouth closed, lips closed while you're doing it, and you can go through the same arm progressions as on floor. And you can make it easier by squatting down more this way, or a bit harder by coming over the ball more that way. You can get the crossover crunches on there as well. Those all work quite well. Now, you've got other options just to keep it interesting. You might want to do a kneeling version. So you're doing the Cobra coming down. That keeps it a little bit more challenging because you're hinging in the hip. And then the crunch there is very hard because you're integrating that reverse Nordic position. So it's quite heavy on the quads. Then the next progression with that, you're going to go up to standing. So you're getting the Cobra position, so you're going to get a constant load through the hamstrings. So you come down to full range. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up until you take up the slap, until you get that arch back. You can go through the same arm progressions. So you want to get that nice inhalation. So it's a reverse of a Jefferson curl. So Jefferson curls, when you go down and bring the head to last, you lead with the head. This one, you're going to lead with the head on the way up, trail with the head on the way down. The standing version of that is very hard without support. You could do it if you're quite advanced, otherwise you can just hold on to something going into that sissy squat type position. So you're not pulling on these, you're just using them for balance. So that's the standing version there. Now for side crunches on the floor, you can just do the basic lateral lift. So just sliding that hand down, stretch, slide, so getting that oblique activation. Then you can do the lower limb. Lifting the the top leg and the bottom leg, like that. Then you can integrate the two. A little bit harder to balance. You always make sure with those that if you do one side, you do the other side at the same intensity with the same version. Then we've got the ball versions. So here, just anchoring the foot. Now you can anchor the foot either way, so I like having this leg straight, so I've got that strict straight line, don't twist down the side. Some people prefer it like that. You've got this leg in front. I find that one's the best. Hips square, and you can just slide the hand and then make sure left equals right. So here I'm going to tape my spine to the ball and peel it off. Now I can progress with the arms. I might pick this one up, over, trailing with that one, both. And then I go Y, I. And that starts to get quite hard, quite heavy through the lateral hip, glute medius, glute minimus, QLs, all through the obliques there. So good progression. The last one, similar to that, just standing. This is a little bit easier. So you're just coming out to the side, sliding down, exhale, crunching up to the side. Now in the program we do a lowered lift this way where the head leads on the way down and trails on the way up. This one's the opposite. So the head's last, and you're crunching up into that side. So it's like you're taping that spine down, peeling it off. And then again, same thing, just want to balance both sides. Usually with those, doing minute each side, so whether it's front to back or left to right. When you're starting out, you might want to use 30-30 and then progress to 45-45 and then minute. Just want to make sure everything's balanced, you're keeping good alignment. It's a good idea to film yourself with these if you're not sure. Use a mirror, that way you can get that feedback on your form, keep good technique. So I like to finish all my workouts with around 6 minutes of course, so 3 minutes front back or 3 minutes side each side. And that way it just keeps that tone in all the postural endurance fibers through the body, keeps your body healthy and your spine stable. All the best. Make sure you submit your videos so you can get feedback on your form, and I'll see you soon.